Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Felice Cellini and this is our Thursday evening Why Wait for Recovery community meeting, and we have our sign backwards so that you can read it forward.
We actually have it the
No,
right
I'm
way.
saying.
Oh, we do.
So that you could read, I'm talking. So that you could read it forward. So welcome, it's gonna be a great night to chat about recovery. Go.
Hi.
She's so proud.
I'm so proud of this. Like I wrote backwards. My name's Haiti. And I'm so blessed and grateful to be in recovery. I'm a compulsive overeater. I'm an emotional eater. I'm a binger. I'm a purger. I'm a drug addict in recovery. And I also had bariatric or weight loss surgery.
Congratulations. I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, anorexic in recovery. Welcome everybody. It's good to see everybody.
And this is just for Jess, okay? So we got the sign the right way around. So what we do is we actually get together twice a week. We have people joining us from all over, different states, different places in the world. We get together twice a week to discuss recovery, how you get it, what it looks like, and questions that we have about it. If you want to join us, you can actually jump into the meeting. We've got a virtual waiting room. If you go to WeiGHT.net, click on the meetings tab and we'll take you straight there. Just click in and you can join us in our virtual waiting room. And you also can live stream us on YouTube and on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'm going to spell out that whole thing. So it's SOWHYWEIGHT, right?
No.
So why?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, thank you. So I do know how to spell.
I'm spelling backwards.
Yeah, I'm going to spell forward. So if you go into So Why Wait, then you could go ahead and live stream with us so that you don't have to just be texting us questions. And for everybody that does text us questions, thank you for doing that as well.
So this month we've been talking about faith.
We've been talking about faith.
And faith is a very interesting concept, especially for me as an addict in recovery, because what faith looked like before I walked into the room and the struggles that I had with faith, that things could be better, were very different.
Yeah.
I came here with a lot of fear. I came in here very scared, very nervous, not knowing what I was stepping into. Was this a cult? But also, I was so lost and so empty on the inside, and I knew I couldn't carry on doing the things that I've been doing because it wasn't working. I stepped into recovery at 52, so I was really old when I started working a program. I thought if I lost weight and became thin, I would be happy and everything would be perfect. And if I felt the way that you looked, everything would be great in my world, and I wouldn't have the shame and the guilt and be demoralized every time I thought I could do something and set myself up for failure, which was dieting. For me, I realized that I was sick spiritually, and not, everyone sees spirituality as a different thing. We're not a religious program. We get our strength from whatever that looks like, the universe, our higher power, whatever makes sense to you. But I realized that spiritually I was broken because I relied on physical things and stuffed myself to try and make myself happy.
Yeah, and so you relied a whole lot on the way that you looked on the outside instead of the way that you felt on the inside. And we talk about this almost every single meeting, you guys, but I met Haiti before you had your surgery. And I was talking about recovery for a long time before that, and Haiti was my business partner, right? We were in a business venture together, and then you got some surgery, and then you got some skinny, and the only thing that you held on to was all of that unhappy and all of that fear. And so that's what happens. When we talk about faith and fear, you guys, we walk into this room. I walked into these rooms petrified, effing scared of everything. I was scared to keep using. I was scared to not use. I knew what using looked like. And I knew that as long as I was using, I didn't have to deal with any way that I was feeling. And once we get clean, once we clean up those receptors, now we have a couple of seconds where we're not using. And then what does life look like when I'm not using? How do I deal with being scared? How do I deal with being happy? How do I deal with the fact that it's Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning? Like, I didn't know how to deal with any of those things without using. And so for me, the faith came, a little bit at the beginning, just knowing that, okay, for this 10 seconds, I did stay clean, but also by talking to other people that were in recovery and getting attached to some type of community and understanding that I wasn't the best nor the worst person on the planet. That I wasn't the ugliest or the prettiest or the fattest or the skinniest or the smartest or the stupidest. I wasn't any of that stuff. And that my addiction made me exactly the same as every other addict, no matter what I was using. So it didn't matter if I got a needle in my arm or if I'm eating 15 pound cakes. It doesn't make a difference, because it's not about what we're doing, it's about why we're doing it. And so you talked about being spiritually broken, and so of course we're spiritually broken. I use the word spiritually, you guys, as getting some happy on, right? As having some gratitude, as coming from a place of abundance instead of a place of lack, of all of those things that we learn together in our community to do as we're in recovery, and as part of why we for the recovery community.
So I'm pleased that you actually brought up the point of using, because I'm that addict that will use different things. You know, I use cigarettes, I use drugs, I use people, I used food, I use different things. I didn't see it as using because I justified one thing as worse than the other, but it always led me to the same place where I just couldn't sit with myself and be comfortable in myself or around other people, or just because it's Thursday. So it became my thinking. You know, I'm my biggest problem in my world when it comes down to it. My understanding of where we are in this program, and for me, what was so important to me is that I saw other people trying something different and they looked happy. They seemed to be doing something and in a different place than where I was. I was crazy, anal retentive, thinking I could control everything, and really living in this very, very chaotic world because I was so scared of doing something different. I'd been doing something the same way for so long. And I think that is part of most people's fear when they start thinking recovery and changing, especially when it comes to, you know, we hear all these food horrors. I came into the rooms wanting to be able to use a little. You know,
So didn't we all?
Right, I wanted to know how I could manage it and use it in a way that would be socially acceptable and that I wouldn't make myself sick and I wouldn't hurt others and hurt myself, more importantly. But when the thought of starting to change everything absolutely started to kick in, I had to have faith that if I tried something different, things might be a little bit different.
Yeah, with the understanding that we didn't try anything different, so everything was always the same. We did the same shit day after day, night after night, right? Second after second. We used so that we didn't have to feel, and everything stayed the same, and we stayed sick and scared and stuck in our addiction. And so it takes a lot of changes. You know, they say, get into recovery, you only had that, they told me, right, and you, that we only had to change one thing, and that was everything. And so to change everything first, you know, to change our actions on the outside doesn't get us any happy on the inside. So we need to learn to change our thinking and the way that we look at the world so that we can think differently, so that we can feel differently, so that we can act differently, right? Some of the things that we learned were that feelings weren't facts. So we could have a feeling, we could be scared or sad or unhappy or any of those things, and we weren't going to die without changing that feeling. And we could be happy and get even happier, and that was okay to do without drugs or food or alcohol or you know, sex or gambling or any of that stuff as well.
So when I look at being an addict, you know, for me, I don't always need to be picking up a substance. I can be clean and not picking up for a while, but I still have those addictive thoughts and those addictive behaviors, and I think I'm addicted to just sometimes being a bitch, and sometimes I think I'm addicted to being miserable because that is the way I present to people sometimes, and I hang on to certain of those behaviors, you know. So when I stepped into recovery, it's a whole picture. It's not just, it starts with putting down whatever you're using. Whatever that drug of choice is, starts with putting that down and abstaining from it.
Right, and that's being clean.
And
that's
that's
not
being
being in
clean.
recovery, it's being clean.
Right, and just because it's down and you're not using doesn't put you in recovery, it just means that you're clean.
Right.
Because it doesn't change anything that's happening up here, it's just stopping what's happening on this level. The recovery part of it is really where things start changing and shifting. And that is a learning process. That isn't something that you just go and you order on Amazon.
Which is too bad because I love Amazon. Shout out to Amazon. The thing is too is that when you talked about, you know, when we stay sick and bitchy and complaining and unhappy and all of that stuff, that's always because we're stuck in not only our own chaos that we're creating, but the chaos that's around us that we step into because it still keeps our head nice and busy, nice and busy, nice and busy. So addicts and active addiction, we have a whole lot of this, right? A whole lot of stuff going on inside of our head. And again, changing our thinking so that we could change our feelings, so that we could change our action is going to be the only way out of that. And that no matter how skinny, listen, you were how long post-surgical, and I went to your house and you were crying, and I tell this story all the time, and you were crying, and I said, what's up? I said, you know, you look friggin' fantastic. You know, you've lost 856 million pounds, you know? How do you feel? And you felt the same, sick and scared and sad and not knowing what was going on. And that was when you decided to step into recovery.
Well, the interesting part of that story as well is I actually relapsed like probably minutes before my 1 year anniversary. And relapse isn't everybody's story, but it is part of my journey.
Part of mine too.
And it was my 1 year anniversary and a couple of hours before midnight. And that was a time when I actually relapsed. And I was speaking recovery, and we had started doing meetings, and we had started doing all the stuff that we're doing, but I wasn't practicing recovery. And for me, it was, you know, there's got to be that marriage or that joining between the words, the actions, and the thoughts for it to become internalized, because it's very easy to speak and present on the outside, because I've lied for so many years. I'm really good at looking good on the outside. But really that honesty side of it, it's one thing speaking honestly and another thing acting honestly, and I think that's, and living honestly, and that is something that takes practice and it takes time, and it's something that I spend so much time stepping away from that it really takes time to get back again.
Yes, it does. And so when we talk about act and recovery on the outside, we're talking about our ego, right, Ange?
Uh-huh.
So we're hi, Laura. We're talking about our ego, and so my ego is what I think your opinion of me is. And when I make what your opinion of me is more important than how I feel about myself, and usually we do that because we have no effing clue about who we are, why we are, or why we're doing the shit that we're doing. When I'm looking good on the outside and feeling like crap on the inside, that's completely the other side of recovery. I mean, that's how we fall back into active addiction in a second or in a year or in 10 years, but at some point, we're going to, because our brains, as long as our brains are the way that they were, we're going to do what we did, right? What was that for a shout out? So let's go around.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Can I just mention one thing?
You can do anything you want to do, man.
So anytime you want to, anytime you want to speak up or say something, just put your hand up or jump in.
Or dance.
Or dance, or
dance thing.
do a shout out.
So, hi.
Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome. So I'm not going to say your name, and I don't know if you want to chat at all. We're talking about recovery. We start talking about faith. We usually don't stay on task, so we usually talk about whatever we want to talk about. Welcome. We're glad that you're here, and I don't know if you feel like sharing anything.
Just briefly, I like everything you heard, and as I mentioned when I came in, I haven't been to a recovery meeting. I've been in therapy for the last couple of years,
So
but I went
robust.
to meetings for a long, long time. But you know, what really was the catalyst to get me off my butt and get in my car and drive over here, because I was thinking of every reason not to, of course, was my daughter. I have a 23-year-old daughter. And I guess I'm a codependent.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't say that I'm a control freak. I'm just a concerned mom. And she's been a very challenging child. She had a binge eating disorder, and she was a cutter. And
Same. You know, same thing.
she's been away from home for a while now, and now she's in a relationship that I'm worried about. She's just
Okay.
making a lot of bad choices. She's a Hooters waitress
Okay.
and a college student.
Okay.
And so she's very mixed up, and I'm very concerned, and I thought, you know, I need to be strong, I need to be centered, and I need to be in a good place to be there for her. And hopefully, you know, I'm practicing faith and acceptance. I mean, she's 3.5 hours away, and a lot of stuff went down last night that was very upsetting, and she confided in me about
Okay.
some physicality and some verbal abuse and,
Okay.
you know, stuff, and she's been drinking more than she should
Okay.
be. She has the same thing
So,
I have.
so she's in active addiction. So what we do here is we
Yes.
talk about how you feel about it, not about the stuff that's going on. Because right now you've got a kid in active addiction and you're a little petrified, like any parent would be.
Just starting to dawn on me as
Okay.
I've been reflecting on her and our journey since she was 15.
Mhm.
The incidents are very far and few between.
Mhm.
See, with me, it was like every night,
Okay.
every day, so it didn't really dawn on me. And I'm hearing things, and now I'm starting to understand. She's been to a couple meetings.
Mhm.
but you know, she's 23.
Right.
She's an atheist. She doesn't want anything to do with God. So the meetings aren't gonna, you know, really. She's just closed-minded.
Okay.
But anyway, I just said, let me get with some other people, you know, that I can bounce things off of, or I can just get out of my fear and my anxiety and my worry for a little while. So when she does reach out, I have some tools, and I'm calm, and I'm in faith, and I'm not petrified in fear, and I'm not, you know.
And that you're staying clean too.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and so with our kids, we know we're always going to be scared. You know, no matter what they're doing, that we think. You know, it's so funny. I've gone through some stuff with my kids as well, and one of the hardest things that I ever did was with one of my sons, who had told me, you know, perhaps he might have had a problem. He wasn't really sure. Da, 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 da. You know, Mom, what should I do? And for me to be able to say, this is your journey, baby. I'm here, open to any conversation that you want to have. If I tell you, you know, it doesn't matter what I tell you, you're going to do what you do, right? Because it is her journey. And that I'm here is the only thing that I could do at that point. So as to keep an open line of communication. So thanks for being here. Listen, you know, our kids go through what they go through, right?
Right. So I've got teenagers, and it's really tough today for kids. I mean, using and marijuana and stuff out there is just so pervasive. And unfortunately, I use most of my kids' lives. So I haven't given them the best coping skills. So they're on their own journey. For me, I have to look at myself and my own health. And because I haven't put my recovery first in the past, and I have relapsed, not once but twice. So for me, it's really about my journey. I can be there and talk to them when they reach out and they want to talk, but it's really hard, especially when they're young and you kind of see and you get a sense of what's going on, but we can't fix them. You know, they're not.
Yeah.
It's not a fixable thing.
But thanks for sharing that,
But
because
thank
there's
you
so
for
many
sharing.
people, that go through it. And it's funny because when you said, you know, well, she cuts and she this, and it's all the same exact thing. You know, cutting and using is the same exact thing, right? We're trying to feel something different than how we're feeling now.
And you know, it's funny that as you're talking, I guess that's why I came. All of a sudden I realized, you made me realize that I act out when I'm stressed out about my daughter. I will eat more, I will isolate more, I will smoke my vape more, I will be more cranky, I will sleep more. So now I'm realizing that obsessive compulsive thinking and that addictive behavior, we're all, you know, checking her messenger every 5 minutes to see if she's alive. So that little green dot is on, and I know she's alive and she's at least, you know, doing
And so
breathing.
you let it play into your own crazy.
Of course.
Right, and so the recovery
brings up
part
my
of
bad
that,
behavior.
right, the recovery part of that is just reaching out, knowing that, okay, I am going to be a little crazy and I'm going to be scared, and that's okay because I'm a mom. But I do understand that what I can do is be there and not too much else, and try to step out of that chaos as much as possible. Does anybody have anything to share? Her daughter's really young.
I just wanted
She
to
doesn't have
quickly
kids, she
share
doesn't have
something.
kids. Yes.
So being in community is really essential when we're in recovery, and we have an online community, and we are a community. There's a Wild Weight for Recovery community. We're on Facebook. It's What's Eating You. We're about to go onto our own server as well, so it's a little bit more private. But we have people in all different time zones all throughout the world. So when there's something that we're thinking of or holding on to, it's a perfect place to share. So if you sign up for the community, it's only for members who have signed in. Your friends are not going to see anything unless they're members of our group as well. So the big thing is being able to talk about these things, because I know as an addict that if I let the chaos of what's going around me step into my head, that's all the stuff that I use to justify me picking up, okay, to use. Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being here tonight. Thank you. All right, Jess, I'm going to pick on you. What's up, girl? Unmute yourself. You can make your faces while you're not muted.
Sorry.
Anything you want to share?
I've got none of the second, weirdly
Okay.
enough, but I might jump in a bit later on and see how I feel.
Okay. All right, so then we're not talking to you, Jess. Liz, how are you? Thanks for being here, Jess. What's up, girl?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you great, actually.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm not in a very good place today.
Okay. Do you want to share why?
You know, I don't know if it's just like raging hormones or if it's that I'm having cravings and I'm not giving into them.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but I had a situation happen at work this morning where I got into an argument with a coworker and it just escalated way out of control and it ended in like lots of tears and snot and I
So-
just kind of felt like crap all day.
Why'd you get into the argument?
It was just a misunderstanding.
Why did you get into the argument?
I don't know what you're asking me.
Oh, okay. So you decided that whatever the point was could be fixed if somebody talked louder than the other person. Or if somebody said more words. Right? This is Felice you're talking to. I'm going to have an argument with you about it. Is that correct?
I had said it back to her and she didn't hear me.
Uh-huh.
And then she said to me, "Oh, I guess you didn't hear me." And when I heard her say that, I reacted, sounded sarcastic. And
Why?
I turned to her and I said, "Well, in fact, I think you're the one that didn't hear me. I did say good morning."
What?
It was a stupid argument.
It's not because it's stupid, right? It's because it's the way that you reacted instead of acted. So there you had a choice, right? So there you had a choice to say, oh, I did hear, as a matter of fact, good morning to you. And that would have been the end of it, right?
Right.
So we talk about forgive them for they know not what they do. So for some reason, you didn't say, she didn't hear you say good morning, and she took that personally, correct? Right. Then you, in turn, took it personally that she took it personally, right?
Right.
So now we're talking about the dance. I'm gonna put my hand out to you, the chaos dance, and you took my hand and decided to dance with me. Now let's fuck up our whole entire day because somebody didn't hear somebody say good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, when all of that could have just been, oh, you must not have heard me back. Good morning. I hope you have an awesome day. So good to see you this morning. Bam. Right? So sometimes as we're going through recovery or learning more about recovery and learning how to step out of chaos, we think, what is it that I could do right this moment to make my own world peaceful? Because how her day went was about her. But how your day went with the crying and the boogers and the pissed off all day, that happened to you in your world.
Right.
Because of your choice that you made, instead of in your head, oh, forgive her for she knows not what she does, right? She's taking it personally, that wasn't my intention, right? Good morning, have a great day. Hope you have a beautiful day. Done. So it's about thinking about not what you said to me, but why am I reacting the way that I'm reacting? She said, oh, you must not have heard me, which means she didn't hear you. We can make up what she said, right? We could make up, well, you know, she's telling me that I have a bad attitude and that I don't care and that I think I'm better than her, right? Or if we're making up stories anyway, we could make up the story, oh, I bet she's having a bad morning. Maybe she needs a hug this morning. So I'm gonna give her a really nice hello. I made up both of those stories, but I get to choose which story I make up. And that story that I choose to believe is the story that set the tone for my morning. Right? So we talk about that, you guys. We talk about, so Haiti and I walk into the room together and I accidentally go like this and I bump past her and I go to talk to Angeli. Right? Haiti can say, bitch, man, friggin' bangs into me and she thinks she's better than everybody else. She sits down in that goddamn chair and she's gonna tell everybody what to do. She's such a bitch that she can't turn around and say hi and I'm sorry, excuse me, right? Or she could choose to say, wow, Felice is always so happy to see me. I hope there's nothing going on with her. I'm gonna reach out to her later and see if she needs any help with something. That's about her. How I act is about me. How she acts is about her. If she walks around with that, that goddamn bitch and blah, 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 right? And then she's gonna call Angeli over, hey, Ange, You wouldn't believe what Felice did, da-da-da-da-da, and then she's gonna text Laura later. Could you believe Felice, you know, I don't know how she was acting toward you, but she was acting toward me, and da-da-da-da-da-da, and then she's gonna put up a, you know, I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery because I don't care about my friends, and I don't care what they say, and I don't care what they do. She could go through the whole day like that, right? Or she could be like, hey, you guys, it would be great if somebody could reach out to Felice because I think she's having a bad afternoon.
As you're talking, I just want to do thumbs up because I think it's so awesome.
We're trying to reconnect, by the way.
I can so relate to this because I have these
We all
conversations
do
in
it.
my head all the time.
Right, we all do it, what you did.
Yeah.
We all do. Right?
Right.
Usually I'm good about this. I've been a lot better lately since I've been coming to the meetings and, you know, just learning, and I've made progress about not taking things personal, but man, it really hit me the wrong way today, and I just reacted.
And the awesome thing about, first of all, Liz, is that you brought it up. You know, those are one of those, what you just brought up are one of those things that people say, oh, I didn't want to bring that up because I thought that it wasn't important. Except every 4,000 people that are going to watch this, every single one of them has had this moment. So every single person gets to hear like, yeah, you know what? I get to make the choice, and you are getting better at it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Everybody
and
eat peanuts all day though, or whatever, fill in the blank.
I'm sorry, say again?
I was just making a joke. I was saying, you know, now that this happened and I felt like crap, I still want to eat peanuts all day or
Oh.
whatever it is.
Of course you. So look at Laura. Laura's like, yeah. Laura and I had a pretty big conversation about like, shit, I'm clean now, and I want to friggin' use like all the time, right?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. And she's a little pissed off too because not only are you not using food, but you're not using any other thing either. So she's not real happy with me, and that's okay. I love you, Laura. But Liz, most importantly is that you recognize the behavior. And so you have it in your head, you're doing better with it. And I bet if the same thing happened tomorrow, you'd do better. So that you, remember, not for her, so that you would have a happier day.
Right.
Right. So recognizing it is, remember, we're going to recognize the behavior, we're going to understand the feeling so that we could change the behavior. Yeah.
So as you're speaking, I just also had these recollections, you know, in the beginning after surgery for me when I was still pretty fresh, there was a lot of letting go and a lot of resentments. I mean, in terms those cravings came up, certain things came up, and I would take it out on other people. So those became my excuses because I didn't have those things that I could use in the background as well. So in the beginning, I also had to take that double step back. So yes, you pissed me off by what you said, or I got into it with you, but also where's that coming from in me? So it's also that other step back of taking a look, because when I relapsed on the food, you know, the 1 year in, I wasn't really being that cognizant to the cravings and the other stuff that was coming up. That it was very easy for me to relapse. I mean, that just became a really easy process for me, and it wasn't something that was unhealthy. It was just unhealthy for me. So I really, as a fellow food addict, I just also maybe suggest, as I did for myself, is just look what happened before. If it was yesterday, the day before, sometimes the stuff we get into with other people happens way before we actually see them, and they become the excuse to go at it as well.
Yeah. So now I am going to let my outsides match my insides. So today I'm pissed off and discontent, so don't cross my path. You know, I'm just looking for the first person to cross my path. And you guys, all of that stuff is okay because we're all human beings. It's just the less that we do of that, the happier we get to be, the more spiritually fit we are. And then I believe, just like movement begets movement, I believe that when we're doing well spiritually, it begets us doing better spiritually, right? And so paying attention allows us to pay attention. Decreasing the amount that we react, the more that we act instead of react, that's part of our recovery. And the less reactive we are, the less reactive we become. It's really amazing. So whereas you're looking at your own behavior and saying, when this happens, this is how I behave, right? And when this happens, this is how I behave. It's looking at that stuff so that we can understand that I can act. I don't need to react today.
And I'm actually so pleased that you brought this up as well.
Thank you.
Because
I'm so glad that you're glad.
I just all of a sudden got this like thought as well of, when I had weight loss surgery, everything shifted. I was before that I was going to work, I was eating, I was picking up the kids, I had a certain routine that I was doing, and all of a sudden I had weight loss surgery, and the big component of most of my day, which was the food part of it, just got taken out of the picture. It was like instant rehab for me. So there was also that element of filling that time with other things and being able to look after myself, whether it is the meditation or journaling or doing the hobbies that speak to me, going out for a walk, whatever it is, it's all the other stuff, instead of trying to do the same behaviors as well, and the same routine that I was doing before. Because if everything stays the same, for me, I start acting the same and doing the same. And so it's coming up with healthier options, the same way as I had to make healthier options with the things that I choose to eat. So I had to make healthier options for the things that make me happy at the end of the day. So I found a whole lot of new hobbies and books I like reading and things I like watching and things I like listening to and routes I'd like to walk on. And all of a sudden my life became fuller with other things that were healthier choices for me, that also I think make me less focused on me.
So I just have to, even the words that we choose, by the way. So you said filling myself up and made me feel fuller. Isn't that so funny?
Yeah,
I had to fill up my time, as opposed to I learned to share my time. Like even the things that our brains hear, right? Because we always want to be filled up. Why? Well, I'm an anorexic, so empty
I'm
is
an
my
overeater.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but still, it's so funny that even our vernacular is that of I need to be full. I need something outside of me to fill me up. And we're going to learn in recovery, you guys, to get a little bit more filled with happy. And that's going to be filled with our spiritual well-being. So I just love that. We have to write something about that, about those words. Liz, I have to tell you that the difference between when you first walked in this room and your attitude, and now your attitude about looking at your life as somebody who's walking through recovery is amazing. And I want to commend you for that. Because I know that you're doing a lot of work that I don't believe in the beginning you thought was ever going to work or was going to be necessary, or this was all bullshit. And I'm really glad that you're here. So thanks for being a part of our community. I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then one day, if you feel like it, I'd love to know what was going on with your brother, as far as you reaching out to him. So I'm going to get to Laura, and then if you feel like sharing about that, I would love to speak about that.
I just also want to say something. When Liz first walked in, she was very different to where she is now, but she's also done a lot of work.
Yeah, she has.
Liz has been one of those people that said something's up, and she stepped into learning and stepped into workshop, and she steps into the meetings, and she's proactive in her recovery. She actually works the program.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you. So thank you so much for being a part of the community. Miss Laura, how we feeling, Mama?
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm okay. I think really came to a head this week was that, so since I personally changed so much and I have made a choice, right, like to stay abstinent from alcohol.
Huh?
Yeah. Your microphone, speak closer to your mic, sweetie.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So what's happened is, since I made the choice to be abstinent from all these different things, what I'm finding now is that it's difficult for me, even with people that I'm friends with, that I was friends with before I went out over the weekend, and they're drinking and having a couple glasses of wine, doing whatever they're doing, and I'm not. And I was okay with not having something, but you look at everybody differently. You experience that time that you used to go out and just have fun, and you have a couple drinks and you eat and you do whatever. It's just different. So, I'm sort of in a weird space. I'm figuring out right now, like what's going to be next for me and what my life's going to look like and who goes along with me and who doesn't. And it's it's good and it's lonely and it's, I don't know, it's confusing and yeah.
Yeah, so it's lonely. Yeah, and so that's the number one feeling, I think, is that it's lonely. And no matter what, no matter how you feel about it, I'm going to tell you that for me, the hardest resentment for me to give up was me resenting myself because I was the addict and I couldn't do the things that other people were doing. You know, to remember that I'm the addict in recovery, and it's not that I can't, it's that I choose not to.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that was a bunch of happy horse shit.
Yeah.
And I'll still tell people when they ask, you want to come over, you were having friends over, whatever, and I'll tell them no, because I'm going to be super resentful of myself. Because I'm going to be pissed off at me because I can't just be a friggin' normal human being who can eat a couple of Percocet if I want to and go out. You know, who can have 2 or 3 or 53 shots of tequila and I don't have to wake up drinking tomorrow. You know, who can do those things like other people do. You know, if I want to lose weight, who can, you know, starve myself for 10 days and get right back into being a human being. Like, it's still in my head, no matter how much recovery I have, still feels, even though I know that it's a choice that I'm making, I still get back to that every once in a while where I feel friggin' sorry for myself. You know, we're like, why do I have to be different than other people? No matter how much I understand that I am different than other people. And not recognizing that is gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
So recognize resentment, you know, understand that, yeah. Like for me, yeah, I do get pissed off at me. And like, what is like, why? Why did it have to be like that? We're gonna remember, you know, after Edward died, everybody knows I had a 17-year-old son that died in an accident. After my kid died, I lived my life like, why did this have to happen to me? And why did I have to be this person? And I got so sick and so scared, right? Everybody knows that's when I started using. So to live in the why kills us. That's gonna keep us sick and scared and suffering. To recognize the fact that once in a while we're gonna feel sorry for ourselves, that's our reality, right? To talk about it, to share about it. See, the thing is too, Laura, with you, is that you're connected to us. So you're real well connected to us. But in the outside world, you're not connected to a whole lot of people that are in recovery. So even for you to be able to pick up the phone, you know, and call a friend and say, shit, like, you know, I really wanted to go out with everybody, except that I'm gonna be pissed off because I can't drink. Or I choose not to drink, actually, because it's a choice. You don't have people around you that you're sharing that with.
Right.
And that has to be really lonely, a really lonely place to be, because you don't have a support system where you are. You have us,
Right.
but who do you have that's supporting you, that's a support system there?
Well, so the quick answer is no one. And my 2 closest friends moved away last year.
Yeah, I know.
So no one. And maybe that's part of why. I mean, I've always been I'm very, very direct with people. And I'm comfortable, you know, I'm not always, I don't have to be mean about them, but I've become lately, like, I don't suffer fools easily. And so I'm abrasive. So if I don't like your shit,
Really?
right, like, I'm just gonna say whatever. And that's okay to some degree, but not okay on the other hand. You know what I'm like? There's just, I don't know. It's just all happening right now. It's all going down in Ohio.
Yeah, so I'm gonna check in 1 second. So, you know, my therapist talks with me about that. And she's like, you know, Felicia, you don't need to be as direct and as abrasive as you are with everybody. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, this is who I am. Like, if you don't like me, okay. I think that there is a point, and especially with patients, where I'll speak to them a certain way, but I'll even tell them, so today I'm going to be nice to you because I'm going to be mean to you next time we meet.
Right.
So, and there is sometimes that I'm actually tender, right? Sometimes. Right, but it's hard for me too. You know, for me, and I say this too, and I know that you feel the same way, our recovery is black and white. I don't have time to make it pretty, and I don't have time to step into the gray, because when I did that, I relapsed after 7.5 years. You know, so I don't have time for that. And I guess, you know, everything is a balance, and it's how you feel, and it's who you're hanging with, And I'm going to let you know that you will find your place. If you could either move to Florida, because we are all still a little codependent, so you could always do that. We're right here. Or if you can find some community, somebody in community there that at least you can be honest with, so that you have somebody that you can talk to that's close. Because no matter how close we are here, you're still not coming over and sharing a cup of tea with me.
Yeah. Right.
So I love it when you share because it's always so honest and so direct. So there are a couple of things going through my mind. Thousands of people watch us online. So I think maybe what we can always do is just say where you're from and let people start posting the state that they're in. And it helps us connect amongst our community, which I think is a great thing. But it also brought certain thoughts to me. And you know, the crazy thing is I used because I felt different to other people. And when I stopped using, I still felt different. So I was always like stuck in that crazy place. But you know, not all my friends are in recovery. A lot of my friends are. There's still people I like who are not in recovery and I enjoy spending time with them. But I had to find things that we could do together that I didn't feel like I was the cheese, like I was standing out like the cheese. So there's certain things I like. I like going to comedy clubs and I like going to whatever it is, watch a movie. So I found certain activities that we could do together that precluded us me having to watch them do what they're doing, which I would love to sit and smoke a joint and hang out at a fire, but it's just not something that we can do. So I think there's also that part of it. Some of my friends stayed, some of them drifted away, but it's not a decision I had to make or still have to make. You know, it's something I take day by day. But the people that you really enjoy will stick around and love you for who you are, not because of what you do.
So,
You know, and I think that's something that helps us learn who our real friends are, and it also opens us up to different new experiences because we were doing the same thing and that brought us here. So maybe trying something different opens something up.
yeah, and some of us are a little bit harder to get to know, and some of us are used to having that front on the outside, and the people that actually know you. You know, you have a few people that really know you, and then the majority of the people around you really don't know anything about you, right? And so when you start out that way, it makes it harder. And those are the people that we, you know, we talk about like schemas, right? We'll talk about that a little bit more, but that's the people that we grew up to be. And there's a reason for that. And so for people that walk around protected because they're used to protecting themselves, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And, you know, that's going to be, you know, part of your journey. That's going to be yours to figure out. No matter how many words we say about it, that part's going to suck for you until it doesn't. And that's the reality of it. You know, I would like to make that nicer, but I don't know any other way to make it nicer because right now that is what it is. And thank you for sharing. And I'm sorry that you're going through it because it sucks.
Thanks.
It does.
Yeah.
So I just have to say something that is so off topic, but anyone
That's
who's
what
in
she
our waiting
does.
room, on the virtual waiting room, we have a wall full of mirrors that you can actually see the outside sky, and it
Oh,
is
it's gorgeous.
unbelievable. It's absolutely
Yeah, actually, we should turn that
outrageous,
around
okay?
so they can see
No,
the
they can
sky.
see through the mirror next to us. So it's unbelievable. But I also wanted to mention something. You know, we also meet each other at workshops and we get closer to the people that participate in the learnings that we do. And we've actually got a workshop this Saturday.
We have a workshop this Saturday.
We do. So 9:30. So anyone, if they've got a question, whether they're an addict or they think they're an addict, or there's loads of people just pissing you off and you're really resentful and you're unhappy with your life because of the food or the stuff or whatever it is, it's a great learning opportunity because you may not be an addict.
Right. And I wish I wasn't. And for the people that are already in workshops, of course, you know you can join. And that would be appreciated. Actually, that would be being of service. It would be super helpful for us, so that other people could see that recovery is possible, and it's not just something that we're saying.
Right, and what we mean by that, if you're in workshop, you just step into the room. You don't
Right.
need to pay to be there. You're
Right.
already part of our community.
Yeah, be part of our community.
Yeah.
So do we have any questions? No. Okay.
Okay, I just
yes.
actually wanted to bring up, you know, you'd ask people to write goodbye letters.
I actually posted mine without Angela reminding me, right?
Yeah.
So-
Angela posted hers.
I didn't
Did you
post
post
mine,
yours?
not this time, but I do have my goodbye letter. But what I find actually really interesting with the whole process isn't so much the goodbye, is more the reservations, the things that I hold on to that I don't want to let go of, that are still sitting there after so long of still being in recovery, and that's what I get stuck on. So very often, I know that I should be doing something, or like even coming, like you mentioned about coming to the meeting tonight. So I'm thinking, do I really want to go to the meeting? And I'm having all these conversations in my head. And after a meeting, I feel awesome. Like when I see all of your faces, I feel amazing just having come. But I'll have all these conversations of why I shouldn't do something. Whereas I never had that conversation in my head when I was going to go meet my dealer, or I drove past McDonald's, or I was doing any other stuff that I was shoving in my body and re-looking at stuff and going, is this really healthy, and what will it do to me in the long term, and why should I do it now, and maybe I shouldn't. I just went and got it and stuck it in my system. Isn't it funny that the things that really are healthy, my thinking is so upside down that I twisted to believe that maybe it's not. So anyone who has got any thoughts, and they're going, who are these crazy people that I keep watching and I don't know why I keep watching this?
We can't help you with that.
Maybe coming to the workshop and things might become a little bit clearer. So I'm inviting everybody out there who's got any thoughts or reservations or conversations about why doing what you're doing that is hurting you is a good idea, and to why you should be doing it, and that's what you keep telling yourself. Maybe it's time to think of something else.
Yeah, so you're talking about making a choice to do something different so that your life can look different, right?
Right.
Doing something differently so that we have a different result. And so I invite anybody to come in and share that couple of hours with us. And it'll be a little bit awesome. And you'll learn a little bit more about recovery and why or why not you choose or don't choose to be in recovery.
And I just
What
want
is
to
your choice
mention
doing?
something else. This weekend is a holiday weekend in the United States. So, yeah,
No,
isn't
it's
it?
next weekend.
Oh, it's the next weekend. Sorry.
She's from another country.
I'm from another country. I'm in another
She's about
time
this
zone.
thing. Soon there's going to be a
Yeah,
holiday.
soon there's going to be a holiday. I don't know why I thought it was this weekend.
That's okay. I know because I'm working on Monday.
Oh,
So I
okay.
know
So
it's
it's
not.
next weekend.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, the holidays are even more difficult.
Yeah.
Because you're in
Food and alcohol.
with families, and it's food and it's alcohol and it's all that stuff that they tell us you've got to be participating in because that's what everybody does and that's how you celebrate a holiday. So what I highly recommend is step into the meetings. You know, we have our meeting on Sunday. We have our meetings on Thursday so far. We may be going through another meeting time change, but that is something we'll come back to you on. It's really important that you reach out to your community when times are good as well as when times are bad. Because for us, the more we get to know you, the more your friends in While Wait for Recovery get to know when something's wrong. You know, and we don't know that if you're only popping in every now and again and posting just your gratitude list. Comment, you know, if something speaks to you, share with that other addict as well. You know, let us, you know, when we share from the heart, we get to know you differently. And it helps us connect to you, and it helps us understand you. And not only that, it helps us identify with you because, you know what, sometimes and very often, I've heard other addicts tell my story. And they tell it in a way that I go, I never thought of it in those terms, and I learned something.
Yeah. Yeah. So become involved, you guys. Become involved in your life and in your recovery because it allows us to be happier.
Right.
So
Guys, Jess,
do
wanna
we,
check in?
Jess, you want to check in, baby, or you want to stay silent? So I'm not going to call on you. Like, I'm not going to give you a hard time today. See, I'm going to be nice
Sorry,
for a minute.
If you do, you do, and I'll just take it as it is. So, yeah, I think what spoke to me massively was what you mentioned about, I can't think of the exact words, but this thing of protecting, you know, showing just a nice exterior rather than letting people in. Yeah, that's what spoke to me, actually.
Right, so we're talking about your ego, right? So as long as I see you as strong and confident and awesome, then you get to walk around and make believe that you're feeling strong and confident and awesome. Right? So how I see you on the outside is more important than how you're actually feeling. And as long as I see you like that, you don't have to deal with how you're feeling. Correct? Because that's why we do what we do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that that you work on. You know, authenticity, you guys, actually being honest and living honestly with who we are and how we are makes our life a whole lot easier. It's a whole lot scarier because we think, you know, well, so-and-so might not like me if I act like I am. If they don't like you, find somebody else to hang out with. That's the reality of it. If you have to make believe you're somebody to hang out with me, why are you hanging out with me? What am I adding to your life?
I think for me, I think I've made myself vulnerable and I've been hurt, and I think that's the biggest reason to why, or I feel it's one of the bigger reasons why I put on an exterior, because then it somehow is a shield to be hurt almost. I
Okay.
don't know if that makes
And so first of all, you guys, we get hurt and we get over it, right? That's the truth. And then remember, when I have a whole bunch of joy and feel a whole lot of happy and I'm really doing okay in my head, how is it that I'm getting hurt? I want to go to the movies on Saturday and you've decided to go with your friends and you didn't ask me to come and I decide to feel hurt. It's a decision that I make. So we want to think about too, okay, I was in this relationship and I got hurt. How'd you get hurt? Was that hurt about you? Or was it about what was going on? Or was it about unreal expectations? Or was it that you chose people to hang with that really didn't deserve you choosing to hang with? Right? That's going to be part of our recovery. That's going to be part of our learning. Right? We'll learn to be authentic with people, and if we can't be authentic with those people, we'll find other people. Right? And when I'm giving without expectation, remember, you know how I used to say, I did this and I did this and I did this and nobody appreciated it? Don't do it. And if you're just doing it because you want somebody to say, oh, you're so awesome and I appreciate you so much, don't do it because you're not being of service, you're being manipulative. Right? Those are things that we're going to learn about. Right? So that's some food for thought. Right? What is it that hurt you in those relationships? What is it that you were looking for and what is it that hurt you? How did you set that up? Guys, we teach people how to treat us. You know, my thing is that I can't be treated like a doormat unless I lay down in front of the door. Right? I allow that. Why do I allow that? Well, because I feel like crap about myself, obviously. So I'm going to allow you to treat me poorly. Right? And that gets back to, but on the exterior, I'm making believe on this, but inside it doesn't match. It's not who I am. And now I'm going to be disappointed. First of all, because you can't read my mind. Second of all, because you don't know what I want, because I'm not telling you. Right? You don't know what my needs are in the relationship. And I'm just going around with all of these expectations, so I'm setting myself up for the relationship to fail. Those are real heavy duty things that when we get like deep in it, and we do in workshop, we go through a lot of stuff like that. Because remember, every way that I feel is about me. It's not about you on the other side, right? So if after you call Angeli and accidentally she has her phone open and I hear you say, you know what, Felice is such a bitch, man, and you know, she called me out and she said she wasn't going to, and she talks and she talks and she talks, and she is abrasive, and I don't even know how anybody listens to her, and right? And I hear you say that to Ange. I have absolutely no, so when I'm done here, if you feel that way, I'm gonna say, wow, Ange, do me a favor, do Jess a favor and reach out to her because she's hurting right now. Right? As opposed to, I can't believe Jess looked like that and talked like that. And that's all about me. I'm going to show up the way that I show up. You're going to take it the way that you take it. You're going to show up the way that you show up, and how I see it is about me, baby. It's not about you. Right? Very, very big lesson that we learn, that we do talk a lot about in workshop. Because I am responsible for how I feel. And when there's something happening that, remember, we talk a lot about the difference between acceptance and boundaries. I set a boundary because this is what's okay for me and this is what isn't. And otherwise, without that boundary, beside my boundaries, I'm going to do my best to accept the world the way that it turns and accept people and forgive them, right? For sometimes because they know not what they do, and other times because they're just a human being having an experience, doing the best that they can.
So unfortunately, we're running out of time. So I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. One, because I'm a numbers thing. So one is we sent you, anyone participating in the workshop, you should have received 2 emails already. One was with our suggested foods for clearing out the dopamine receptor. The other thing was some homework that you would need to do by Saturday.
Yeah, please do, if you choose to do it.
Right, if you choose to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a question of willingness and what you're willing to do to
Yeah.
get healthy. Then the other thing is we have limited space available still for Saturday because we keep space available for people who have been in workshop and we like having them back because it really is about the learning and continuing the learning. So Saturday starts at 9:30. It's a 2-hour workshop. Then we have our 9:30 on Sunday meeting. It's a time change. It used to be at 9. We're now meeting at 9:30. If you're in Davie, Southeast Florida, come join us in the room. It is an awesome location. And we'll also meet up again on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and it's all Eastern Standard Time. If you can't be here and you're not local, please step into our virtual waiting room. Don't wait till the last minute, but hop in. It puts you right in the room with us. It feels like you're here. So we want to take us out for a sec.
Yeah.
You got a minute to say goodbye.
I have minutes, so I'm going to say, I'm Dr. Felice Cellini. I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. Thank you so much, everybody out there, for being a part of my recovery. Thank you for your help and your caring and your guidance and your sharing. And recovery is awesome, you guys. It's hard, but it's way, way, way worth it and a whole lot better than the alternative.
And I have a request for everybody.
Angela,
Thank
I
you
didn't even
so
ask
much.
you to speak
Oh,
today. I completely forgot about you.
So we please
Thank you,
subscribe-
Angeli, for everything that you do for us. Thank you.
And please subscribe to our YouTube channel as WeightWeight, WEIGHT, for recovery. We want to get the message out to anyone who is struggling. And if no one's told you today that they love you, I love you. And we will see you on Saturday.
Peace out, you guys. Recovery is
out,
awesome.
everybody.
Angeli, man,
Hope you-
I didn't even ask you if you wanted to share today. Not that you should have to be asked. I'm just saying.